Bam! Welcome to another episode of Mike Sports. I'm your host, Eric, joined as always by Landry. Landry, I know you're feeling a little better tonight than me. My
Unexpectedly
Yeah.
feeling better. Yeah.
My season is over, but oddly enough, the fate of your Dallas Cowboys or your New York Giants or the Washington football team, your fates rest in our hands.
True.
Because we hold the fate of three teams. Well, really two, because one of them will be decided earlier in the day on Sunday as the Cowboys and Giants face off. Isn't it? I think that game's in New York.
Yeah.
So that game will take place at 1 o'clock, and I'll be watching that. I've got my own idea of the scenario I want, but we'll get into that later. So let's get in. There's a lot to get into, not just, of course, with the East.
Yeah. Every team has a little something to talk about.
Yeah, this is one of those cases. There are so many different scenarios in which you could see different matchups, the seedings, and then who's getting in. Tennessee needs to win, and then there's like 5 other games. They just need one outcome.
Yeah, we need to talk about that Tennessee Green Bay game.
Yeah, Green Bay whoop that ass.
Shellacking. And, I was one of the people that said that I think Green Bay is a little bit of a mirage. But what I will say about that is that was a cold weather snow game. Like there were elements to it that make Green Bay just naturally more adapt to that game. I don't know about a 40-point game, but made them more adapt to that game. But I definitely, it does show that Tennessee is beatable. It does show that Green Bay is probably better than I thought, but still not as good if you put them against the Chiefs or somebody like that, where they'll probably get slugged out. But so the debate has now become who is actually the best NFC team? Packers, Saints, Buccaneers. Now we got some real debates going on because we're coming to the precipice here, and we got some teams all starting to show some shine, except for my Rams. Obviously, the Rams just turned to crap towards the end of the year. And I honestly. It's time to admit that Goff needs probably the boot. Probably need another quarterback in there.
Yeah, and oddly enough, he's got the injury. He had to have surgery on the his thumb, and so he's out this week. But they think if they can win, if they can beat Arizona and make the playoffs, then Jared Goff will be ready for the wild card game.
Yeah, and I read that he'll be having surgery on his pride as well. So I don't know how that's going to go. We'll see.
I don't know. I didn't see the timetable on the recovery for that.
Yeah. All right.
So let's get into the Week 17 matchups. I will bring those up, as always, using my gambling app. Yeah, that's how.
You're not a degenerate, and that's what's important here.
Absolutely not. I've yet to go in the hole. I started off a year ago with $100 in my account. At one point, had it well over 500. I don't want to talk about where it's at now.
Yeah, you got to stop betting on your own team. That's all.
Actually, I didn't bet on the. I think I bet on the.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet on the Cowboys in my life, depending on it right now.
Right?
I don't care how good they're doing. No, not going to happen.
Okay, the first matchup of the game, or first matchup of the week, the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cleveland Browns. Steelers getting 10 points in this one because Ben Roethlisberger not going to play. They can't get the 1 seed. Basically, I think they're conceding the 2 seed to Buffalo.
Yeah.
I think this is a Cleveland win. I was hoping to get it before the news had completely circulated that Ben Roethlisberger wasn't playing, because now I'm not going to touch it with a 10-point spread. But
yeah, I'm gonna go with Browns. Actually, I think the Steelers are trending downward.
Yeah, and like I said, with Ben Roethlisberger not going to play this week is for rest. I think this is a Cleveland win. That means Cleveland makes the playoffs in that scenario, I believe. So, and the Baltimore Ravens at the Cincinnati Bengals. And again, this is another case where Baltimore needs a win.
Yeah, I think they take that game easily. I mean, without Burrow, I just don't see a lot of Bengal action going on, period.
Yeah, I agree. We'll talk about the Cowboy game later. Atlanta at Tampa. I know I've got my heart set on Atlanta. I want them to win to help the Eagles move up in the draft. And Tampa has much to play for. They're in the playoffs. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to predict what I'm rooting for, and I'm going to predict the Atlanta Falcons to beat the Bucs in a game that really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, and I think you might be right because I think, the Buccaneers just haven't beat them recently, Tom Brady making that comeback against them. I think the Falcons got something to prove or to do to the Buccaneers just to go out of the season a little better. So I think the Falcons put up a good, good heart. They put their heart in this game, and I think it's a good throwdown. I'm still going to give the edge to the Buccaneers, but I certainly would not be surprised if the Falcons do it just for a psychological victory.
Sure. Yeah. And also, as I will always say, do it for the Eagles.
Like games that don't even matter. You're like Chargers versus the Colts. Do it for the Eagles if you don't care about anything in your life. Okay.
So, the most important game, and I know you're dying to talk about this one, the New York Jets at the New England Patriots.
Yeah, here's the deal. I did see the news today that Bill Belichick looks like he might be sticking with Cam Newton in the next season.
Yeah, which I think is curious. I mean, look, if they want to sign him to another $1 million deal, and then maybe bring in a rookie, through the draft or something, and basically have Cam Newton as that bridge quarterback. I just want to say hello to John, checking in. Where's John? How you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Bill Belichick is nuts on the Cam Newton thing. I think Cam Newton is done. I think Cam Newton is a permanent backup in this league at this point.
And who knows? Just because he's saying he wants to bring Cam Newton back, that doesn't mean he's not going to bring him back as a backup.
Okay,
like I said,
in my opinion, it does mean he wants to keep him a starter.
Sure.
But let's say you're right. But either way, I think bring Cam Newton's a bad idea. I don't think he has at this point in his career what it takes to put it over the edge. And the Pats desperately, because of the way they shot for receivers and whatnot, you have to have a stellar quarterback. You don't give them any weapons, so the quarterback's got to be top notch. I just don't think Cam's the guy.
I agree with you, Cam not being the top guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so but I guess in the game, I'll go Patriots just because they're at home, and I feel like the Jets got their big emotional. They've won 2 games. Yeah. They're not going to be one of those winless teams.
They've done their franchise par for the year. We matched last year, and the year before that, and the year before that. We're good. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so next up, and this is a real intriguing game, the Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills. The Bills, again, really just playing for seeding, and this is another one of those games that we talked about.
Yeah.
One team, at least one, is going to have 10 wins and be at home in the playoffs. And, Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills.
I'm going to go with the Bills this time of year. You're taking some warm water fish and throwing them in the snow. I'm probably going to have to take the Bills. If the Dolphins do win this game, what I will say is, A, that'll be some good game film for whoever plays the Bills in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And B, the Dolphins are definitely trending upwards with their Fitzmagic magic that they pulled off last week. And, they're putting him in over Tua. But I'm not sure, and I think you're the same notion, a 2-quarterback system is a no-quarterback system.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Name me a time that a 2-quarterback system alternating on an ongoing basis, not a couple of games into the playoffs or something.
Right.
In other words, not an injury and then a replacement, but an actual rotating quarterback system has won a Super Bowl, and I can't think of one.
Yeah, never.
Yeah, I can't think of one. So, so I'm going to go Bills in this one, and I think the Bills stomp them actually pretty good.
It's funny, all week looking at this, I contemplated – I've been the Bills guy. I have been riding the Bills train. I contemplated doing the Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty, sending them through the barbershop window and completely turning on the Bills this week and saying the Dolphins. But I'm not doing it.
Okay.
It's Buffalo again.
Yeah.
The Bills are winning.
I'm going to have to go with you on that one, man. Look, the Buffalo Bills are a much better team. And what's funny is typically when you think the Bills, when they have any kind of success post 1994, when they have had any kind of success, it's always been their defense. And you can honestly say now their offense is just as good as their defense.
Yeah.
which is the first time in a long time for the Bills to be able to say.
Josh Allen, I think, is a legitimate MVP candidate. I mean,
Yeah.
a dark horse behind, the usual suspects, Mahomes, Rodgers, and
Wilson,
Russell Wilson. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that one.
Mhm.
You have actually kind of turned me into paying attention to the Bills more, and the Bills are playing good football. And the Dolphins, what's Raymond Cruz saying? Dolphins, hey, look, I think the Dolphins could put up a fight.
They're a really good team,
but not in the snow. Not in the snow. I can't see the Dolphins playing good. Although, hey,
tell you what, I wouldn't be shocked.
They did knock the ball to Leon Let's during Thanksgiving against the Cowboys in the snow, so I can't take away snow that much from them. But ultimately, I can't see warm water fish beating people in the snow. Just can't see it.
Yeah. All right, let's move along to very important Minnesota Vikings at Detroit Lions. Whatever. I guess I'll take the Vikings.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Vikings, and I will say this: the Vikings put up a hell of a fight over the holiday. I mean, they put up some real points. I can't remember their exact score. I'm trying to go back here and look at their Week 16
No,
score.
I think Alvin Kamara just scored another touchdown since we've been talking.
Yeah, 52-33. Okay, I thought they wouldn't even compete in that game. I thought that was going to be a 14 to 50 game, and they put up 33. I was actually thoroughly impressed with their offense, not their defense.
Their defense got carved up.
The Saints just made Turkey Day Part 2 on them for sure. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with the Vikings. I think they have a bounce back win. I don't think it means anything, obviously.
Now, the next game up, the Tennessee Titans at the Houston Texans. I am hoping against hope that the Houston Texans, can take down the Titans, because that would give the Texans 5 wins and then give a chance for the Eagles to move ahead of them in the draft. My eye is on the draft.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Titans are going to absolutely destroy the Texans out of fury about getting smoked in Green Bay. I think the Titans are going to be on a revenge tour, and the Texans are the ones that are next on the road. So I'm going to go Titans for sure. Like, not even a quibble of a doubt in there. The Titans, I think they're going to be so pissed off after what happened in Green Bay. I just think Mike Grable is going to suit up and just tackle someone for the hell of it.
I'm just hoping that, J.J. Watt and, I just want to talk about that press conference he had. I know you've seen it. That's pretty cool. That's a classy move. I like him a lot.
And that's not the first time he's come out. When Bill O'Brien got fired, he had a fiery speech about he's tired of losing. At this point in his career, he loves the city of Houston, but maybe it's time for a change where he can go get a Super Bowl under his belt.
Sure.
J.J. Watt is a direct, honest guy. I appreciate that. But I think he's held his tongue for a long time with the lack of success with the Texans. And he's finally like, you know what? I'm at a point where I might as well just give it straight.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I do think the Titans will win. I think the Texans will show some pride and hang in there with them.
Okay. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say 45-14. Titans just destroy the Texans.
Oh. See, I'm going to go somewhere in the neighborhood like 31-21. I think it's a close game for a while, and then maybe Tennessee tacks something on late.
I think that Derrick Henry literally just starts eating players as he's running the ball. Like, it's that kind of
year. Doing that already this year? That's what he did.
Just a blind rage. Just, we run down the field, guy comes up to him, he stiffs arm him, but instead of putting him on the ground, he just holds on to him and then just starts chewing on him. Like, I think it's just a man-eater game. All right. What's next?
Okay. Jags at Colts. I mean, this is Colts.
You pick and then move on. I don't even care.
Yeah, the line's 14. I think the Colts smoke them. The Green Bay Packers in Chicago and the Bears in a win-and-in situation. I mean,
I think I'm going Green Bay. I think Green Bay, they're just playing soulful. I think they have momentum. I think it's momentum carrying them right now.
Yeah, and Green Bay, if they win, they get home field advantage in the playoffs. They get that bye. I think
and they'd be 13-3. I mean, the last time they were 13-3, they went to a Super Bowl. So, I look at this and I say, Matt LaFleur, maybe he is the real deal. Maybe it was a smart move for everybody. Thought Green Bay was a little crazy for doing what they're doing, but it seems that Rodgers is responding well to Matt LaFleur's play calls.
Yeah, he is. And I think this is a Packer win. Saints Panthers. This is a Saints. I mean,
even if it's not, even if the Saints lost, you'd be like, all right, you had a good run there, Panther. We got your pride up for one day, but that's probably it. Saints will go back to winning after
Well,
that.
yeah, I mean, the Panthers aren't making the playoffs or
So
anything.
that would make the Saints 12-4. You know, obviously in the NFC, what are the Bucks at? Let me go back to the Bucks schedule.
Well, the Saints have already won the division. They won it last week by winning.
Right now, I'm just placing seeds here.
Yeah, so the Saints
Bucks are
would
10-5. So wait,
the Saints would then be the 2 seed.
dang the Bucks, man, they blew. You know what it is? They blew some of those early games they should have won.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, all right.
All right, so next up, the Seahawks, 49ers. I think
You know what, man? I think the Niners go out with some class. I think they bring it to the Hawks. I think they take it.
Okay, well, I mean, that would lock it up. The Seahawks would then be the 3 seed. The Saints would be the 2.
Yeah.
So I'll just, next up, Arizona, LA Rams. And seeing how we picked this is a playing game for them.
I'm gonna go Cardinals. I think my Rams win has gotten lost.
Yeah, I'm going to go Cardinals as well. I think they slip into the playoffs then with that win.
Yeah, I started yawning because I knew you were about to say that. I was like, well, let me just go ahead and yawn and get it out because I know the game that's next.
All right, next up, Raiders, Broncos.
You know, good rivalry game there. None of them are really going anywhere. It's just going to be a good smackdown. The Broncos are playing at the Broncos, it looks like. So, I mean, look, the Raiders are the better team. I think the Broncos go for a pride win. I'm going to go Broncos just because it's that Mile High. I don't really
I think the Raiders kind of feeling a little down, being eliminated from the playoffs. Broncos have kind of known their fate for a while. I think this is one of those spots where, like, they just come out one emotional game and leave it out on the field. I think this is a Denver win.
Yeah.
All right. Chargers at the Chiefs in a game. Chad Henne's starting this game. The Chiefs don't need this game. They're already locked into the 1 seed. But I'll just say Chargers win. But
yeah, no, I'm going to still go Chiefs win. I think Chiefs look pretty basically – they don't even like the one loss they had. I think they take pride in just about any game, even if it's meaningless. That's just the way they play football. I don't think Mahomes, he's so competitive. I don't think he knows how to relax even against a team.
Well, he's not playing. They're playing Chad Henne.
Oh, they did say they're pulling him. Okay, I thought he was playing 1 quarter, they said. Okay, they must have changed it then. Or either that or I misheard. I'm still go Chiefs because, I mean, there's just too much potency. But and I do think that, I'm going to go Chiefs put up – I'm going to go 35 –
Okay.
Chargers 7, and I think this is Anthony Lynn's probably last game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that Anthony Lynn gets 5. I want to talk about that, too, when we get done talking. The Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants. Who do you think's winning that game?
Here's what's funny about this. I think the Cowboys are going to win it.
Mm-hmm.
And because I watched them play the Giants before, and the Giants, for some reason, just couldn't get it together against us. But here's what's funny. So if the Cowboys win, they'll be 7-9. Basically, 1 game difference between having Jason Garrett. So maybe the coaching move doesn't look as bad as we thought because Mike McCarthy doesn't even have a starting quarterback, and he's almost tied Garrett's previous record of being in the Cowboys seat.
Right.
That makes you think a little bit. I still don't think in the end that McCarthy – unless Dak just turns into a freaking double superstar overnight again. But I don't see McCarthy doing it. But I'm going to have to go with the Cowboys in this. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I'm thinking like maybe 6-point, like 2 field goal game.
Yeah, I almost wonder if this is going to be a game, similar to that, the game we always talk about, the Emmitt Smith $11 game, where you kind of see them battling at the end and just – the Cowboys just saying, final drive, hey, look, we're just going to ride Zeke and see if he can take us to the playoffs.
Yeah, and I'm hoping they don't win. I'm hoping, I'm trying to get my draft position now. Let's face it. I don't care who you are in the NFC least. If you make the playoffs, you're out in the first round. This doesn't really matter anymore. You're just giving yourself an extra game of pounding for no reason. So, I'm definitely comfortable if the Cowboys just close it out and they do leave everything on the field. Don't leave anything on the field to chance. No, I'm not
leave it out there.
Leave it out there. I don't really care. Yeah, let's leave it there.
It's cool.
Let the janitor crew clean up.
To answer Raymond Cruz's question, I think we both took the Browns in that one, right?
We took the Browns, man. We think I think the Steelers are trending downward.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have to go with the Browns on that one.
Yeah.
And they're playing in the dog pound, so.
Right. Now that brings us to, and I purposely said I thought the Cowboys would win the game against the Giants, and then it would come down to Eagles Washington on Sunday Night Football, and the Eagles still with a chance to play spoiler for Washington, not let them get the division championship and have a bunch of no names going in as NFC East champs.
Yeah.
My scenario is, I mean, I want the Eagles to play well and lose because I want the better draft pick. What I really hope it comes down to, this is my dream scenario here. The Eagles are down 2.
Okay.
They drive down the field, and every Cowboy fan is cheering on the Eagles so they can win the division, get in the playoffs, and
They get the one, they get crushed. Denied.
And then the Eagles line up for the game-winning field goal. Direct snap to Elliott. He just takes the ball, flips the middle finger, and takes a knee.
Okay. So I think the Eagles are going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I got.
So,
yeah, I think the Eagles.
I think Washington, they should handle their business. They should show up and win the division on Sunday. I mean, if Alex Smith plays, I mean, what a story that would be. You know, a couple of years out of football, you know, that terrible leg injury. You know, Joe Theismann was never able to come back from it. It was essentially the same injury that Alex Smith suffered, and now he's able to come back. And if they were to come,
Washington's had some distractions, man. With Hastings decided, hey, like we said, obviously they released them. They just didn't think, Ron Rivera said he just didn't think it was, didn't see any mutual interest there anymore between the two. So I thought it was best just to move on and give him an opportunity to go find himself a new team and get himself prepped up. And look, man, I'm a person of second chances. So first of all, that mistake wasn't the worst mistake in the world either. It just happens to be a mistake that you can't do, or you're probably going to get let go or just not looked at as a responsible, solid character and be put back. You're either going to take a step back or be removed from the team, one or the other. So, I think Washington, the three reasons I think they'll lose. I think they're a distracted football team now.
To be fair, they also, they looked at Haskins. They knew that they had already given up on him. And so I don't think cutting him was that big a deal to them. It was just –
yeah, it wasn't a reaction to the event. It was an inevitable, and that just sped it up, I think. So –
in that scenario, Raymond Cruz asks who's the top 5 draft picks. And so in our scenario, I guess it comes down to we've already got the Jags and Jets. They're going to go quarterback, whether it be Trevor Lawrence, 1 to the Jags, and 2, Justin Fields, Ohio State. And then the rest of it, I believe we both had Atlanta and Houston picking. I guess that's 3 and 4. I mean, that's going to come down the road. I'll be looking at who the top prospects are. We watching the combine. I'm one of those guys. I always wait till the combine to start talking about who I project where, because I think that's where you start to get an idea.
Yeah, but, if I had to go off the top of my head,
Oregon,
he's going to pick 3 quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence to Jaguars. I'm going to go Justin Fields to the Jets, and I'm going to go Zach Wilson to the Panthers or Bengals. However that ends up.
Well, the Bengals already got their guy. They got Joe Burrow. I don't think they'll.
So.
Yeah.
No, I mean I could see them going. I'm sorry for the Bengals. I picked Sewell, the offensive lineman. That's what I was going for. Okay.
Yeah, that's where I would definitely think the Bengals would go Sewell.
Yeah, I think they're kind of doing a Cowboys thing. Now we got a quarterback. Let's build a line around him. Yeah. All right.
And of course, if it ends up where the Eagles, in the scenario, and that's why I talked about wanting Atlanta, Houston, and Cincinnati to each get wins on Sunday. If that were to happen, the Eagles will be picking 3. And I'd certainly be happy with an offensive tackle combination of Sewell on one side and Lane Johnson on the other. That would be a nice pair of bookend tackles. And look for Lane Johnson then to sort of assume the role that Jason Peters assumed with him, where Peters really was Lane Johnson's mentor.
So before we end up, we've gone through all our games here. We've talked about some stuff. where are you on the Hurts Wentz debate after that loss, which is Hurts' first defeat, and
Well,
how he looked
second
in
loss. They've lost. They've lost. Yeah, they're 1-2 under Hurts. But yeah, because they lost in Arizona the week. Yeah, and then
Yeah, but I mean that was close. Like that could have gone either way. This was an actual you lost. Like you weren't going to win that game.
yeah, I mean, look, you can't make a decision on a quarterback based on 1 or 2 games.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been saying you can't decide that Carson Wentz isn't the guy after a full bad season. So it would be real hypocritical of me to say after one bad game that Hurts can't play. I think what's established is that Hurts can play in this league, and it's just a matter of how high is his ceiling and how low is his floor, and it's still to be determined.
And I also think like Hurts seems to if I'm gonna like let's say they trade Hurts. Let's say they go Wentz and Hurts is like, hey, another team's like, we'll give you like 2 trade picks and X amount. They also should be cognizant of the way he plays under Doug Peterson's system.
Sure.
You want to make sure you have a system similar, or you call plays in which he can thrive, and not just be like the Colts and you throw him in a pocket passing system with no running, and be like, oh, he's not the same. So I hate when I see players look like they have all the potential in the world, and you trade them somewhere that just completely stifles their talent, and everybody looks at them as washed up or a bum, or that they didn't work out in the league or whatnot. And I'm like, no. Sometimes the system eats them up that they get put in, and they don't get to thrive.
Absolutely. I think that happens way more times than it's just the guys aren't talented.
Yeah, like Ryan Leaf is a prime example. Ryan Leaf is one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen, but teams wouldn't give him the drugs he needed to stay healthy and keep going. I mean, what do you want from a guy?
Right? If you're not going to give him the drugs, like, how do you expect him to perform?
Yeah. You're like, oh, here's some cortisol. Here's some cortisol. Oh, here's some steroids for the pain in your muscle or whatnot. And Ryan Leaf constantly asked, where's my pixie stick dust lying on the mirror? And no one gave it to him. I mean, what do you want from a guy?
I want to address this question here. Does Minnesota move on from Cousins? I haven't heard anybody ask that question.
I don't think they do.
I don't think so either. I think it's one of those things where they're kind of stuck. We use the term all the time in the NBA when we talk about it, saying they're kind of in that purgatory mode. They're good enough to where they're going to keep knocking on the door for the playoffs, but they're not good enough to get over that hump, and they can't really afford to go into rebuild mode. And I think that's what Minnesota's at. They can't really afford to go into rebuild. I think
I think he showed enough against a really good team that he can play a good quarterback. And I mean, he put up 33 points against
him. I mean, he had one game where he looked good and hung with the Saints, but like overall, his whole body of work, he can play in this league. Like, I've always been one of those Kirk Cousins guys.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins, to me, is a slinger. He's a gunslinger style quarterback. So, yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason to move on from Kirk Cousins myself.
Yeah, I just don't think you're not going to have a chance at a better option right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the Cowboys aren't going to let Dak Prescott leave. They're going to franchise him again if it doesn't mean, if they don't work out a long-term deal.
Yeah.
So I think Dak will definitely be back in Dallas. And then it's just a matter of, are you really counting on maybe going out and get, like, say, Jameis Winston away from the Saints? Like, and I don't think that's going to mean anything to you. And
I don't know.
To get Carson Wentz, he's not available. Like, I don't care what people say in Philadelphia about wanting to get rid of. He's not available right now.
So my deal is with Carson Wentz from a comment standpoint coming from me. When he starts his first game next year, I will sit back on my comments and just say, let's see what happens with him. Until then, the debate's on. Right now, I think it's iffy. But if Hurts dominates this next game and his body work is basically a 50-50, then I'm kind of like, okay, I see enough there to say he could challenge him in camp, and then Doug Peterson may need to think about it. But if he doesn't look very good in this game, and I go, well, like you said, she showed he can play in the league. Carson Wentz will probably get a spot back. But if Carson Wentz looks like crap, now we disagree on this for sure. When I asked you, how many games does Carson Wentz have to look bad next year for you to go, okay? And I think you said half the season, if I recall. And I said 4 games. That's what I said.
To me, it's like if you go in already with a timeline in place of saying, okay, at this point we're pulling the plug, you've already damaged him. You've already said, like, you come in with a defeatist attitude. I think you take this situation as it presents itself. I don't think you can go in there and say, okay, 3 games he looks bad. It's all about like how's his preparation? Does he look bad? Is it fixable? And right now, the way I see things, it all like all his mistakes that they all look fixable under the right coaching and the right tutelage.
Okay.
Like, so
and I heard a good debate today about, does Peterson need to move on in order for Wentz to thrive, or vice versa, or whatever? And I personally think so. I think one of them are going to have to go. It's obviously not happening next year, but one of them is going to have to go. Like either Peterson or I don't think there will be a dual firing. I think one of them will get fired. The other will stay. A new coach either will try to get Wentz going, or a new quarterback will be under Doug Peterson, and Peterson will be like, and moved on from that situation. I think Peterson can coach. I think Jeffrey Lurie has learned that finding a coach is not easy. After letting Reed go, getting Chip Kelly, that experiment failed, and then running Doug Peterson, having really quick success. And I think he still, although he's paid a lot of money for Wentz, I think he has some love for the way Peterson does things. And I personally like Peterson. Like I take him as a Cowboys coach. I think he's a great coach.
I think he's a great coach too. I like him. What I think happens is next year, if it comes down to it, where it's not working between the two of them, I think you would see where the Eagles would. It's a lot easier to part ways with a coach than a quarterback. Sure. And then you'd fire Doug Peterson. You'd bring in a new coach,
or maybe there's a GM.
Well, yeah, I think. Well, I think if you're deciding to move on from Doug Peterson, I think what happens is Jeffrey Lurie says, "Yeah, we're moving on from Howie Roseman as well," and you bring in a new GM, new coach, and what happens is that they put together to try and help Carson. And then guess what? You have one more year of Carson before you are really able to cut bait with that big contract. And if it doesn't work after the 2022 season, that's when Carson Wentz is let go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think either one of us is unreasonable. I just think, you have personal feelings towards the team. I'm just talking about it like it's business. There's nothing personal there for me. And I don't think either one's wrong.
You're not going to move on from that. Like, you're not going to take that cap hit. Like, if they were to let go or move on from Carson Wentz in any way, that's a $30 million cap hit. Like, it's just.
So I got the official. It's a $58 million hit.
Yeah.
58 mil. It would be the exact number for the hit.
You're just not taking.
I agree. That's why I think next year, no matter what, he's there. But is it like this year where he's just not starting, but he's there, and they move on from him when the cap's a little less of a hit? I don't know. And that's assuming that if he plays bad again.
Well, I mean, look, that's going to be fun going into next year. And look, those are the reasons why maybe we tune in every week to all the NFL games. And this is fun. I enjoy the heck out of these debates. They're a lot more fun than talking about Mitch McConnell wanting to keep us from getting $2,000. But
yeah, which is insane. Let me just say this.
Yeah.
As a Republican, if they don't find a way to do that, Republicans, kiss your ass for the next 4 years, gone, and your congressional voting in the next 2 years.
Well, what I think is funny is Mitch McConnell has a runoff election on January 4th. Yeah. Good luck with that, pal.
Yeah. And I'm like, look, man, I love y'all when it comes to military, immigration,
sure,
low taxes. But when it comes to domestic issues, quit being stingy and help people out.
Yeah. I mean, someone, I love that someone posted, I forget what the exact number. I think
even Trump is like, give him the money.
Someone posted, you know how like all those things are like, how you can like for $1 a day you can sponsor some starving kid in
Africa. Yeah.
Well, now it's like for $1.34 a day, you too can sponsor an American.
And there's no flies on my eye. I'm not like fighting for a sandwich between 30.
I know. I feel like I need Sarah McLachlan playing in the background.
Right. That's wrong. That one's wrong. That went far. Yeah, you mentioned that. You went far. All right, man.
Yeah, everybody, it's been a great season. We're certainly going to keep rocking on into the playoffs and really can't wait to talk about some of the playoff matchups. I think some of the teams we left out because by virtue of Chicago losing in our scenario to Green Bay, that means the Bears would not make it. And I believe that it means Seattle and the Rams would make it in that scenario. I mean, not Seattle, Arizona and the Rams would make it.
Yeah. And Eric will be rooting for the Eagles basically to blow it. So the Cowboys basically get smoked. in turn, which will break my little heart once again every year. But we need some pieces in the draft. So there's a part of me it's okay. I'm okay this year. I think that early on we aren't just looking that good, and when Dak went down, I already kissed our season goodbye. So nothing really affects me at this point if we go down. Cowboys, we did what we could. And to me, like I said, we almost pulled off a Jason Garrett season without a quarterback.
The 8-8.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to wish everybody a happy and healthy new year. 2020, yeah, you can all the way off.
Yeah, 2020 is out, man. If you got a trash can, you have the word 2020 written everywhere, just put it on there, burn pile that shit. Send us photos. We'll put it up on the screen around us while we're talking. 2020.
Like skyscrapers don't put in the 13th floor because of bad luck.
Yeah.
I wonder if now those new ones will skip the 20th floor.
Yeah. Who would have guessed that a new decade never was supposed to be like a clean start would be such a horrible year?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the expression for 2021 can only go up from here.
Yeah. Unless that variant strain starts, well, then it might go down.
Oh, well, apparently some people in Colorado got it. And
yeah. Well, in Colorado, they smoke a lot of weed. That's what they bump into.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right. Everybody have a happy, safe new year. Remember, no more than 10 people at your gatherings.
And remember, don't put your tongue and your mouth in places you regret later. I heard that from a psychologist when I was a kid.
That's good advice. It's kind of like Jimmy Dugan in the Avoid the Clap.
Peace.
Buddy. Happy football.